Yeah, so looking at the Mysterious Poppers, they would definitely be one of the first crews that I ever seen get into a club wearing khaki suits, matching khaki suits, by the way.
Were they blue or tan?
That's the thing. They were either blue or tan. I think they were blue with tan shirts.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna kid you. The first time watching them, literally like inspired me to the point of knowing for sure that that was one of the most inspirational performances I had ever seen in my life, because when I seen Waving, I literally thought that watching a wave was about as contorted as you can get when it came to waving, until I seen the Cobra for the first time, in the Mysterious Poppers.
Who was the person you first seen do the Cobra?
The Mysterious Poppers. The Mysterious Poppers. They are the creators of the Cobra. Daryl Johnson, I believe, is his name. Yeah, he's the one who created it. A guy like your size, bro. And watching these cats throw down, and a guy that's your size, do this move, which is animated, isolated, and contorted. I mean, come on. It's like you literally think to yourself when you're looking at that, hey, I gotta get off that bottle. I need to leave that stuff alone, because it's like you really think that your eyes and your mind is playing tricks on you.
I love when Bruno used to do it. First time I seen it at Breaking, when he was waiting for Tyrone to show up, and as soon as he seen that, they came in, and he just, come on, he let you rock, and he started doing it.
Right.
I was in the movie theater just I was like the happiest person in my world, because I've never seen it so done, so smooth.
Right. Yeah, really
Taco
good.
had it down. I remember when he came out, everybody in the movie theater started clapping.
Right. Yeah.
I remember going to see the movie Breaking, and it was so many people that people were standing up against the walls because there was no more seats.
Right.
And I remember when Ozone was like, man, go outside and clean up. And he did after he did that performance, he literally got a standing ovation at the movie theater.
Wow, I just remember going and just really watching the movie and
Boogaloo Shrimp.
And just making myself part of the movie as you're watching it.
Yeah,
I remember that, man. Everybody was rooting for him.
So the fashion that you remember, like you were saying, what was the poppin' fashion like for you? That you remember that everybody kind of wore? Because I remember people used to wear the crocus sack shoes, and then we get the white out, and they will whiten out the bottom so the white can stand out more.
Wow, that's a new one.
And then they would wear the golf gloves.
Right, now I definitely remember the gloves.
The golf gloves. Yeah. And then the surf jackets.
Right.
And then you had the golf hats, because that's what the Crips would always wear, with the two golf clubs that was crossed.
Yes.
And then they would have the Jerry curl with the Jerry curl bag.
Right. No, I see. That's the thing about it. There was different eras, right?
Right.
So when I first started, literally it was like you said. If you were lucky enough to get your own surf jacket, get your the name of the crew on the back.
Mm-hmm.
That was the way to go. And then also the way to go was going to be just wearing black or a pair of black karate shoes. Black and white karate shoes was in back in the day. Crocus hats was in back in the day. I used to see that.
House shoes.
I used to see guys wear the house shoes. I used to see guys wear. We still wore sneakers too. We used to wear the Chuck Taylors.
Okay.
Was famous back then. You would roll with a pair of Dickies, or jeans, if you didn't have like a shirt jacket, you know, you rock like a satin type of shirt. You know what I'm saying? Like something black or something black or just a regular white shirt. You had like the denim. Denim was in back in the day. Sometimes cats would even, you know, go with the same.
What'd you call the glasses
style.
again that you were saying?
Oh, the lokes. The
you had another name.
insanes,
They call them
insanes.
insanes.
Yeah,
I never heard
lokes
it called it
insanes.
insanes.
Oh yeah. Lokes and insanes. Yeah. You had those. You know.
But that was a big deal.
Oh yeah. Then you had like the. It was all, to me. It was literally all about your hat.
Yeah,
the
your
hat
hat
was a big. Yeah, the hat was huge, man.
Yeah.
Because you could literally like tell a lot about a dancer
by his hat. I've been wearing the hats
and creased up.
Right.
You gotta have the creases in your jeans and your dickies and and your slacks.
Man, we had like
at
least like 4 cans of starch at our house.
Right.
Starch was every day. You hear that?
Yeah, remember that? That was famous.
That's all we hear on Friday night. Earl's getting ready for the dance.
Yeah.
That's what it was though, Tyrone. The key word, everybody's watching it. Like dance was everything. It wasn't. I know, like in the b-boy world, we always say battles. That we won't go to a battle, but the dance was everything because back then dancers always wanted to meet the girls.
Oh yeah.
That's what it was about.
Sure.
That's why you went to the dance. So you didn't go to the dance for the guys.
Right.
You went to the dance because you wanted to meet the girls.
Right. That is so.
So that's why the dance was huge in the black community.
Right.
Brothers wanted to go to the dance so
true.
they can talk to the girls.
Mm-hmm. No, that's so true, man. And just to add on to, when we were just talking about the gear, but like the different eras, like when I first started, like in the the end of the 80s or the end of the 70s, like 78, 79, and then right into the 80s, and then when you went in between 80s into the 90s, like that's when you started like seeing cats, getting zooted, like wearing more like, like the zoot suits, you know what I'm saying? Like they were starting to dress up a little bit more.
Like Machine Gun Funk? Like you heard of Machine Gun Funk?
Yeah.
It was big on Hush Puppies, Bionic Man, and all those dudes.
Right.
Hush Puppies.
Yeah. But
Fedoras, yeah.
Yeah, but it was always, it was always the fashion that was almost just as important as the dance itself when you think about it, because that's how you could kind of tell what eras you were kind of like playing with, whereas now, it's kind of just open, and I see cats, they're really, doing their best to like bring back, how we used to like dress back then, which is real encouraging to see. But it's probably not as important for the newer generation as it was for us, and it's kind of understandable because they didn't live the lives that we lived. They didn't see what we saw. They weren't inspired by who we were inspired by, and just the times are just kind of different.
Right.
So you can't hate.
Right. So also, when I mentioned to you, I wanted to trace the origins of the inspiration of when I first seen like poppin'. And I remember my father took me to the drive-in. We seen Star Wars.
Oh, right.
There was R2 and there was 3CPO.
Yeah, R2D2.
3CPO was the big robot.
Yes.
And the way that he would be like R2.
Correct.
Like his head movement, the way that he was. To me, I could see the early stages of like the way that he would just like, the way that he would walk to.
Right.
Because I seen it on Soul Train, when Electric Boogaloo's was on Soul Train. And I would see that Sam and the way that they would move. So like Star Wars wasn't too far before that they got on Soul Train.
Correct.
And then also Lost in Space with the robot.
That's true.
That robot right there.
Yes.
And then I seen Clash of the Titans.
Ooh.
Like the animation, the claymation.
Right. Yes.
So if I really had to pinpoint that, and then also coming home watching TV. Dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Bugs Bunny tutting with his ears.
I remember that. Wow.
And I remember when that cartoon in particular came out,
It's funny.
that I could say that was the foundation for us as young black kids being inspired to copy that. Because everything that we seen on the screen, we copied it when we got home.
Yes.
When I seen Superman, we was on a roof trying to do what Superman doing. We thought that we can jump off the roof and fly. And gravity said no. Right. When we seen the Flash, we bought the new kangaroo shoes with the little kangaroo on the side. You seen the commercial where the kid was running super fast. So I remember when the Bugs Bunny and then Buck Rogers in the 21st century with the little robot. He would go beady beady beady. What's up, bud? Beady 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 beady. I think it was Tiki. Something like that.
I can't remember the name.
I remember it. I
definitely remember.
I'm a true story. I remember that little robot. But it was the same thing. He'd be like, what's up, bud? And he would walk around like, in his head was like that.
Yeah.
And then I started noticing Michael started doing it on Dance Machine. I'm a Dancer Machine.
Right.
When we watched Soul Train on Saturday, dun, dun, and I would see his head. But I'm thinking like, that's 3CPO.
Wow.
From Star Wars.
Actually, that was prior.
Yeah.
Because they had the Michael Jackson, that whole that Dance Machine. That was like from a cartoon. Like they had like they were like literally like. That was when that was prior to Star Wars, like the Dance Machine, the Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5 Dance Machine cartoon. I think it was before Star Wars. I think it was.
I think you might be right. I'm not going to argue that.
But at the same time, still, it's still all relevant.
Right.
It's so, and I can understand your point, that you're making. But it definitely coincides.
Right. I can say, when I was seeing this in my neighborhood, which was South Central, it was kind of like it was something that like brothers did that was like within like the communities, like in the projects, the Jordans Nickerson Gardens in South Central. From my point of view.
Right.
Once Shaka Khan came out with Shaka Khan,
Yeah.
when that video came out,
oh my God,
that was the first commercial video I seen where popping was commercial.
Right.
And then it was played on MTV.
Yes.
And MTV played that video day and night.
Yeah.
When I seen Turbo, Lollipop, and Taco, then I seen the movie Breaking. But the first time I seen it, where I knew that it got mainstream and that it crossed over, was in the Shaka Khan video.
I remember that.
I Feel For You.
Yeah, I loved it.
Once that song hit, everybody in the world was playing that song on the radio.
Yeah.
KGFJ played that song like crazy. K-Day played that song like crazy.
Yeah.
And then I started noticing other races started getting involved. The white kids started coming to school.
Wow.
The Asian kids started coming to school. But it was that video in particular that I noticed it crossed it over. Because Shaka Khan, that was her mega hit.
Yeah, it definitely was one of them for sure.
Yeah.
For sure, no doubt about it.
Do you remember first time that you seen the I Feel For You video from Shaka Khan?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And what did you think when you saw it?
I thought it was special. I thought it was, something that you could only watch and be inspired by watching it. Especially, looking at Bruno, how he did his thing as well as Boogaloo Shrimp, and just the I just can't help but hear that song and not automatically identify the harmonica. It's just it just does something to your heart, man. It just brings out that joy. It just really makes it so fun to just listen to the music and then see the dancing behind the music and just see how it's just synphase and harmony together, man. Just straight magic happening on the screen.
Right.
But I love it. Definitely one of my all-time favorites.
So you being in my eyes, an original popper though, did you start noticing, or you seen a year in particular where like the dance started fading off and a lot of people just basically moved on in life?
Oh yes, yes.
Can you tell me when you seen that transition?
I would.
And also, did you go through that personal transition where you had to step away, and like maybe you might have went to the army, or maybe you started a family, or you just stopped? Because a lot of people I know stopped.
Right, right. Well, there's a two-part question. The first part is, did I see when the art form started to die down a little bit?
Right.
And I noticed like right after 86, 87-ish, up until like the early 90s, it died down. And then picked back up again, like, after the mid to late 90s into the 2000s, into where we are now. But when that happened, when that decline happened, of course, since there was no dances to go to anymore in a lot of like clubs, they probably, started looking at dancing here in America, like, why are they still doing that? That's how a lot of people would look at you. Like if you were still, call yourself doing moves, they wonder, well, what's going on with him? Well,
Always getting laughed at. Black people was.
Yeah. It's like we were kind of like.
Black people was going after me though, bro.
I think even Ice Cube was put something in a song where he mentioned dancers dancing against each other.
This is what he said. Ice Cube said, "I don't party or shake my butt. I leave that to the brothers with the funny haircut.
Yeah, that's
They'll
right.
drive you nuts, steal your
That's
beat, and give it that gangster touch." It's called jacking for beats.
Jacking for beats. That's right.
I knew what he was talking about when he said that.
And you could understand it because it's almost like they were always from the beginning looking at this dance as a fad, which is understandable. You look at locking, how locking was, the number one, entertainment dance to do in the hood when I was growing up, right? That was just, the thing to do. And then, it started to die down. And then after that, the popping came out, right? So you could understand how a fad's purpose is to be temporary. But for me, saying as I was inspired by the martial arts, I was inspired by crews and dancers growing up as a kid, right? And so I found a way to like dance in the comfort of my own home when there was no one really around to motivate me anymore, or to say, hey man, that's not cool to do anymore. Because for me, I did the dance as a way to unwind, as a way to decompress. I looked at this dance always as a therapeutic way of manipulating myself, so that way I could find that space to forget about whatever problems I was having. So for me, it was much different, when it kind of played out at the mainstream. For me, I continued on, whether that was me training, whether it was me not training doing popping moves, but just getting my body together, making sure that my body could withstand, just the movement that's required to, do the dance in a manner that's gonna make you feel like you're being entertained when you're watching it. I really was a firm believer when I watched the martial arts movies that the discipline that, I was watching being displayed on the screen, in my mind, I'm like, man, if I could, take what I'm watching these guys do and add it, to me in my daily training regimen, it's like, man, there's no telling what I will become. And then also, I wanted to you know, I wanted to kind of do this dance forever. So I knew that if I was looking at longevity, I had to put in the work. I can't just say, I want to do that forever without putting in the time and the work and the effort that I felt that it would take to get to this point. So that's what I did when the art form kind of started dying down. And then when it came back again, was I gonna be, just as effective as I was, when it was, the number one craze? No, but at the same time, I knew that I had an advantage because even though I might have slowed down, I didn't, completely distance myself away from it, because in spite of me, still becoming a career, in spite of me wanting to strive to have a career and have goals and accomplish them and have a wife and a kid and just everything that the great American dream is supposed to offer, I said, why should I miss out? And that was the misconception. That's where a lot of G's, and I gotta admit that I was lucky and blessed at the same time, because I told myself when I was 17 years old, I had to make one of the most important decisions of my life. I said, do I stay in California and try to pursue a popping career, right, as an entertainer, right? I said, do I do that, or do I try to get my education and go to, at the time, Phoenix, Arizona, to go to DeVry Institute of Technology? That's the, that's the crossroads that I was faced with. And so I chose to go to Arizona.
Is that in Phoenix?
Right there, that was, Phoenix, Arizona. Because we didn't have that type of school in California at the time. And so the reason why I chose that is because I said to myself, popping is as bad as I wanted to make that my career. I had to realize that it's not able to
sustain you.
Yeah, is not able to pay your bills, until you become famous. And as you're growing up and you're trying to find yourself and you're trying to basically take care of yourself and support yourself, right? You literally have to consider how I grew up, and failure was not an option for me. And so I felt like if I would have just chose popping on its own, there would have been a greater chance of me not succeeding compared to if I would have just tried to get my education and then use my dance as more of a hobby, use my education for the career. And so I was able to do that. So I'm one of the lucky ones that was able to actually get my education, get a trade underneath my belt, and not have to depend on just the dance and art form to have a career and to pay my bills. So I'm just thankful, man.
That's amazing. If you could ask your younger self, if you can go back and talk to your younger self, what advice today that you have that you would give your younger self? If you could go back 40 years from now and you could talk to your younger self right now with the knowledge that you know, what advice would you give to your younger self?
That's a great question. It would probably be to not be so hard on yourself. I was so hard. I mean, hard, like, hard to the point. Like the day, just to give you a really quick example, I remember the day that I first seen Pop in person for the first time. And my heart was filled with so much emotion. I couldn't explain it. I mean, I mentioned to you before how I felt a sense of entitlement because I was from the hood. I was there, at the time that the art form first came out. So I was trying to figure out to myself, I was just kind of mad at myself why I didn't learn about it sooner. And what was funny is after all these years, I came to the realization that it wasn't that I was so mad that I couldn't learn the art form sooner than I learned it, right? Or the dance sooner than I learned it. It was simply the simple fact that I didn't allow myself time to really just think about the advantages that I had, because even though I felt like I should have learned it sooner, the key is it was the simple fact that me not being able to explain what was wrong with me, the anger that I had, it was amazing, because when I looked back and I thought about it, I said, oh, that's what it was. Your emotions was being played with. Your emotions was having you feeling like you was happy based on what you were watching. Your emotions made you, feel sad. Your emotions had you feeling like, you were familiar with the story that the performers were trying to tell you. And at the time, you're not able to explain that to yourself because you're looking at it in real time and you just don't understand what's happening at the time that you're watching it. But after all these years, I get why my heart was filled with so much emotion, because
How
my
old were you at
emotions
that time?
was being played with. I was 15.
When you first started popping?
I was 15 years old when I first seen it. You see, that's the beauty of it. I was 15 when I first seen it. It was just months afterwards. So you figure when I seen it for the first time, I can't necessarily say that that's when I first started. That's when I first seen it. But yet, when I went home and looked in the mirror and tried to duplicate some of the stuff that I saw, I knew that I had a long road. And so I would say, after the first time I seen it, the very first time that I would allow someone to see me do a move was probably a good 6 months later. And that was, like my brother, my auntie Duty, if you're watching this, and my brother Tim, he's resting in peace, and my sister Tammy,
Okay.
Because you just kind of shared it with just your siblings, you know what I'm saying? You wasn't going to let nobody outside the house see it because they'd be, oh, man, what are you doing, But that was the first time, man. It was probably 6 months after that I did a move. And trust me, it was not anything that I would have been comfortable showing someone that was a true pop.
Right.
No way.
Okay.
Like I said, I was 15 and it was about 1978, 1979.
Okay. So we'll fast forward the question. Who is your favorite popper today that you like? If I could pick one that I say that I like today, I would say more like on the newer tip. Not really like so much like from back in the day. But he's new to me, but I really like him. I would say Slim Boogie.
Oh yeah.
I like Slim.
Slim Boogie. Yeah, I like Slim Boogie.
Who do you like today?
Oh my gosh, man, there's so many.
But this one.
I can't,
There's many I can say though too.
Yeah.
I like Nico too for the new generations.
Right.
But I'm just saying, like, if I could pick somebody that I really enjoy watching, you know, it would be like Slim Boogie.
Slim Boogie, huh?
But I mean, I know all the older brothers though too as well. But
Right.
if I say somebody that I could say that's new to me, and that I feel like that is a little bit younger than the OGs, I would say Slim.
Wow. That is a good one.
That's why I want to ask you current.
Slim Boogie is nice, man. As a matter of fact, I remember he won a contest that I was able to judge, you know.
Okay.
Back in the day, man. He's just really amazing, you know. But one of my favorite guys, I ain't gonna kid you, man, there's so many, but one guy that stands out to me, and I'd seen him when he first came onto the scene, and I judged him, you know, I judged when he was in a couple of different contests, like before he really kind of blew up, and it's Poppin' John.
Okay.
I just love his whole, you know, just his whole style, you know, just the way that he basically started off, you know, being a basic popper and just looking at his journey. You know, just looking at just his journey and just the way that he started off just doing normal contests, and then the next thing you know, he's just this huge celebrity. He goes on Star Search or Dancing with the Stars, whatever it is, and just absolutely blew up. You know, but yeah, I say he's the one that comes to mind.
Okay.
You know, no doubt about it. You know, let's see. And I could keep going because there's just so many.
Okay, give me one more.
I ain't gonna kid you. I definitely like my man